Hello everyone. This is Starry Ari's ASMR. I am Ari. And today I have my meal calendar whiteboard here because we are now in August and it is time for me to fill out my new August meal calendar. So you can see here is my July calendar, and we had a fun vacation, and so we just did these silly little drawings for each day that we were gone. And we had a little pineapple, a little beach, volcano, a rainbow, a flower lei, some rings and champagne glasses, turtle, a little airplane for our flight home. So if you didn't catch any of my videos where I was talking about it, this might clue you in that we went to Hawaii. And it was a very fun trip, and we had a pretty busy month outside of just, traveling. It's pretty busy anyways, but I think every single month this month, at the beginning when I'm doing my meal calendars, I think I've said the last month was a very busy month. So I think we've just had a very busy year. So today I want to sit down, take some time, and fill out the new meal calendar. So if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I've done a lot of these. I'll link my playlist and I'll just kind of do a brief little explanation. So this is a full month meal calendar that my husband and I like to have just hanging on our fridge, and each month at the beginning of the month we will brainstorm some meals that we are wanting for that upcoming month, and then I just kind of sit down and fill out where things maybe make sense. And we really love having leftovers. We do not like having to cook every single day, so we have lots of these FFY days sprinkled through here, and that just stands for fend for yourself. And that just gives us days where we can have leftovers, or we can just, make ourselves a sandwich or whatever. But that way we're not having to cook every day, and this means that we can just make sure that we're cooking, a decent amount of food each time we are cooking, which is kind of easy because it is just my husband and me in the household. So that's kind of the breakdown of the meal calendar. And of course it's flexible. We end up moving things around all the time, but it's just kind of a good starting point, and I feel like it really helps us have a little bit more just kind of like mental space when we're not having to think about what we're doing for dinner every single day. And I am filming in my kitchen, so I have the usual caveat that my dog is down here and you might hear her snoring or getting up in the background. I also just have, neighbors out and about. It's summer, so lots of the neighbor kids like to play. So I'll try my best to kind of mitigate the noises in the video while I'm editing, but some things just might slip through. So I think these tend to be pretty true lo-fi videos. Alright, I think that's enough rambling. So the first thing that I'm going to do is first admire my beautiful, lovely little drawings. And then the second thing I'm going to do is erase this calendar. I'm going to keep these little notes over here. This is just for us to keep track of when we're changing our soda stream canister. So I'm going to keep this down here. But I am going to erase everything over here just so that we can start fresh. For that, I just have this dry paper towel, and I'm just going to start by wiping everything clean. I always say that this is one of the most satisfying parts of my month. It's also kind of sad when I have some funny little drawings that I did. And usually my husband kind of started the like doing little drawings on our calendar trend. Like he kind of started doing that, and then we kind of go back and forth between who does little drawings. Or sometimes one of us will do a little drawing and the other person will just add to it, or do something a little different somewhere else on that calendar. So we just kind of go for it, and I am not the best at drawing, especially not with whiteboard markers, but they're silly little drawings for us to look at and have fun with, so life isn't that serious. And we did have a very, very fun July, and we always like to do our vacations during the summer, and we were excited to choose Hawaii for that. And we do have a very busy month coming up too, so one of these months might be a little more calm for us, who knows. Alright, that is our calendar fully wiped clean. Just trying to get a few of the extra little spots off. I think that is good. Okay, so we've got a nice clean blank slate to start with. So I am going to take my dry erase marker here and first write out August. I'm just going to put August just up in the top of this little month section. Usually I write it kind of smaller because we were doing drawings like over on this side, and I feel like we just kind of stopped for a while, so I could probably have it be larger, but we're just going with it for now. And then August started on the 1st. Of course, I keep saying that. It always starts on the 1st. It started on a Saturday. And then I'm just going to go through and write out all of the dates of the month just in the upper left-hand corner here. It's lovely. The last couple months I've been using this nice new dry erase marker, so my writing is actually like illegible. 6, 7, 28, 29. I do need to split these boxes in half for the 30th and 31st. So that's just kind of how I like to do that when the month goes for more than just the 5 weeks that I have here. Alright, so we've got the month of August all filled out here with the dates. So now my next step is to go through and fill in the meals. And the first is a really easy one because we did spaghetti on this Friday, so we have leftovers. So we'll do fend for yourself, and then, these days actually are all kind of easy because we have some events and things happening that we don't need to plan meals for, so we can do another fend for yourself on Sunday and one more fend for yourself on Monday. So kind of a very easy, nice start to August. And then this week here, let me think. Oh, I didn't do, usually I like to go through and fill out if we're going to be gone for any weekends. And we are actually going to be traveling for a friend's wedding. So I'm going to write gone. And then we're going to come back on Sunday, but I'm going to make the little mark there so we can maybe plan something if we want to, but it's kind of obvious that we're coming back on Sunday. So we're leaving Friday evening after work, so we don't need to plan a dinner for Friday. Okay, so for this week, I want something kind of really simple, stuff that isn't going to have like tons of leftovers, because we don't like to just leave leftovers in the fridge while we're gone, especially if it's stuff that might go bad, because then it's just wasting food. So I think that I want to do some BLTs. This is just one of our really basic go-to meals. We always do it with like avocados. It's like a BLTA, except I don't have tomato on mine because I'm not a fan of fresh tomatoes, so it's just a blah. A bacon, lettuce, avocado. And I also usually have cheese and, you know, like whatever else I want to put on my sandwich. So we'll do BLTs, and then we always end up having leftover bacon just because it's the two of us and we don't eat an entire package of bacon. So I think we're going to do some baked potatoes with some leftover bacon for bacon bits to put on the potatoes. And then I think we're going to do a fun for yourself on the 6th, just to make sure that we kind of eat up any leftovers from these. And if we don't have leftovers, we do have some like frozen meals in the freezer from previous leftovers. So sometimes if we make some meals that make a lot of food, like chili, and every time we do chili, I learned that we were just like wasting some of it because we didn't want to eat chili for 5 days in a row. And my husband and I, for some reason, never like have a recipe, and so we're making chili for like 8 people. And so we sometimes will just like, now, because I learned that we were wasting food, I was like, oh, we're just gonna pull out when we're, you know, putting it away, like after we've eaten and we're just getting it in the Tupperware. I just set aside a few portions automatically to just go in the fridge, or in the freezer, sorry. And that way we just kind of always have some frozen meals, and that has come in handy so many times. So that's something that we've kind of started this year. It's just been really nice. We don't have a ton of freezer space, which is a little bit of a bummer, but you know, so far it's worked out okay for us. Alright, and then we are going to be gone for our friend's wedding that weekend, and then we're going to do, let's see, oh, I was thinking maybe something kind of just simple and easy. We're going to be coming back from traveling, and it's kind of a quick weekend turnaround, so I'm going to just do a chef salad. So we usually will just boil up some, maybe some hard-boiled eggs, and we'll, you know, sometimes grill chicken or sometimes just do lunch meat. It just kind of depends on what we're feeling. And we sometimes have leftovers from that. It kind of depends on how many hard-boiled eggs we make and how much, you know, chicken we grill up. But I was thinking that we could do some meal with stuffed mushrooms. Usually we do steak and stuffed mushrooms as our like celebration meal, but I've been really craving stuffed mushrooms, and steak is just kind of more expensive than what we want to spend for it right now. So I think I'm also gonna do like a grilled chicken and stuffed mushrooms or something like that, a cheaper protein, but then we can still have stuffed mushrooms. And they're delicious, like cream cheese and crab stuffed mushrooms. And we just use imitation crab. We don't shell out for real crab flakes, but they're really tasty. So we're gonna do chicken and stuffed mushrooms. I trust that we will have some leftovers at least from this, and we might even end up like pushing this to the 11th if we have more leftovers of chef salads that we want to eat. So I'm going to do a fin for yourself just to kind of build in some of that flexibility. And then, let's see, my husband was craving pizza, so we were thinking that we could do some DIY pizzas this month. You know, every now and then we'll splurge and order in pizza, but I feel like the DIY pizzas, they do kind of like scratch that itch or like curb that craving for pizza, and it's just like so much healthier. So we're gonna do DIY pizzas on the 12th, and we probably will have some leftovers from that. Sometimes we eat the leftovers for lunch, but I feel like this month I'm really trying to have lots of flexibility built in because we have some busy things coming up this month. So I'm gonna do another fin for yourself. And I like having the extra flexibility because we can always add an extra meal. You know, like last month in July, I didn't have a meal planned for this Friday, and we realized we kind of needed one, so I just had spaghetti. Like I just threw spaghetti on the meal calendar, and so we can always be flexible like this. But this is at least like a good starting point. Okay, and then I love a meal that we call pasta vinaigrette, and it's basically just like a pasta salad with like sausage and like zesty Italian dressing, and it's like one of my favorite childhood meals that my family used to make, and we all would have to get involved because there are so many veggies. And so even as young kids, we were all like forced to be in the kitchen and help out with dinner because my parents weren't about to be cooking dinners for 4 kids after long days of work by themselves. So this is just one of those like really nostalgic meals that we've carried on like into adulthood, and my husband and I make it every few months. So I do pasta vinaigrette. Okay. And then we're gonna for sure have leftovers from that because I practically make the like portion that my family would make, which is like ridiculous. I think I only do like 1 box of pasta, and my family would do 2, and then maybe a little more like sausage and veggies. So I think ours tends to be less pasta focused, more veggie focused, but it's still good. So we're gonna do the fin for yourself on the 15th. I do think I want something here on the 16th. I think I want one of our Instant Pot meals. We're gonna do the chicken sausage and gnocchi. Chicken sausage and gnocchi. I always have to stop and think for a second about how to spell gnocchi. And I think that recipe is actually in this book. I'm not gonna find it. For so long I was finding it and then writing down the page number, and then now we've just gotten so used to remembering which recipe comes from which book that we just kind of flip through and find it. So that one, really tasty. It's, you know, like a stew kind of with gnocchi, and it's very good. So we will have some leftovers from that, so we can do fend for yourself on the 17th. And then, see, I think that I would want to do maybe another easy meal, which is our pesto pasta here. Pesto pasta. Oops. I just wrote past. Okay. Our pesto pasta. Usually we'll do like farfalle pasta and store-bought pesto. We don't make our own pesto, I'm sorry. And then we'll do mushrooms, spinach, and sausage if we're feeling it. Sometimes we'll throw in like sun-dried tomatoes. We just kind of make it however we're feeling. But it's a super simple, easy meal for us to do. So we're going to do that on the 18th, and that will give some leftovers. And let's see, I could see us having enough leftovers from one of these that we would push out another day. So I think I want to build in some more flexibility, which might be unnecessary, but we'll just kind of go with it. And here on the 21st, let's see. Oh, we've been wanting to do ribs. I don't think we've done ribs like all summer, and I feel like it's a classic American thing to do. So we're gonna do ribs, and we usually, let's see, we could do like sometimes we'll do like baked potatoes with ribs, like small little potatoes, or like baked carrots or something. I think that we were really wanting to do corn on the cob, because we never make corn on the cob at home, and we make it when we're camping sometimes, and every single time we make it, I'm like, I love corn on the cob. Why don't we ever make it at home? And so after this last camping trip, I was like, we need to remember next time we do something that it makes sense to like have corn on the cob with, we've got to do it. I don't know that corn on the cob makes sense with ribs, but in my mind it does. So we're gonna do ribs, and we always do our ribs in the Instapot. We're not like fancy with our ribs at all, and they always turn out really good and juicy. So we're just gonna stick with that process, and we will certainly have some leftover ribs from that because we can never get like a super small rib rack. And then here on the 23rd, I'm thinking I kind of want to do some more salads. I think I want to do some chicken Caesar salads because I love a good chicken Caesar salad. And this will honestly be really similar to just our chef salad, except we won't hard-boil eggs, and we'll, you know, for sure, like grill up some chicken, and we'll have croutons and, you know, Caesar dressing and stuff. And I love a Caesar salad. And we'll try and plan to have leftovers from that. So we will try and make enough chicken that we can have some more salad on the 24th. And then on the 25th, let's see, oh, my husband kind of wanted us to try and make like a fancy ramen, but we don't really have a plan for this yet. He was just gonna kind of figure out what he means by that, but like, you know, like a souped up ramen. So I am just gonna write fancy ramen, and then we will figure out what that means later in the month. And then let's see, on the 26th, I'm gonna guess. I mean, I don't know exactly how we're gonna be doing the ramen. I don't know if he has in mind we're just gonna do the like dried ramen noodles. And if that's the case, we're probably just gonna do like 1 pack of noodles each. So I could see both ways, whether we'd have leftovers or not. I think I'm gonna plan as if we don't, and then we can just kind of push out this next meal if we need to. I think I want to do our chicken pot pie soup because that's something that we haven't done in a while. And it's kind of silly to have soup in the summer, but we are so fortunate to have central heating, and so our temperature inside is always nice and cool during the summer. Like we have air conditioning, and so that has like spoiled me so much because I sometimes will just want to have soup in the summer. So we'll do chicken pot pie soup, and we for sure will have some leftovers from that. And I'm even thinking that we might have some more leftovers where we could push this out one more day, and so then it might have made sense for me to just plan a fend for yourself here, do chicken pot pie soup, and then a fend for yourself there, but we'll figure out. But I'm gonna do another fend for yourself day on this Friday, and that leaves us this last kind of weekend and this Monday here, and I think let's do some breakfast for dinner. This is one of our kind of fun ones that we like to do. Sometimes we'll do waffles or French toast or pancakes, and that's largely because we love breakfast food, but we never take the time in the morning to make any of those. Like the most expensive breakfasts that I make is like, scrambled eggs or like a breakfast burrito or, something like that. Like that's kind of the most intensive that I do regularly. Other than that, we usually like to do kind of pre-made, like I do yogurt parfaits or oatmeal or just sometimes just like toast and some sausage is all I'm feeling. So this kind of gives us a chance to have delicious, yummy breakfast food at a time where we're actually motivated to cook it. So we'll do breakfast for dinner, and I don't think we usually have leftovers for that. Oh, but we actually have a thing to go to on that Sunday. It's kind of midday, but I think that we're probably going to eat out, and so I don't know if we're going to want to cook when we come back. So I'm going to do a fend for yourself here. And then I just want something easy for this 31st. Because again, it's going to be kind of a busy day. I think I just want some grilled cheese. So we do grilled cheese sandwiches with tomato soup. And that is the month of August. I'm just going to kind of quickly look. It's really funny to see the beginning of the month with all of these fend for yourself days. And there are actually quite a few fend for yourself days throughout the month, but like I was saying, we have a pretty busy month, and I really want to make sure that we're just building in flexibility and being realistic about like how much we're actually going to cook, how much food we actually want to buy for groceries, because I don't want things to go to waste or us keep pushing things out and then, fresh produce goes bad before we can use it. I don't want that to happen. So I like to try and be realistic and not, super optimistic about how much we wish we were cooking, but realistic about how much we are actually going to cook. I think that this month looks pretty good. We have some, I think, pretty tasty meals. I mean, I always love the pasta vinaigrette. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. I'm interested to see what our fancy ramen ends up being. But I hope that you enjoyed watching me put together my August meal calendar. I hope that you had a lovely month of July and so far a lovely summer. We're kind of coming to the end of summer, so I hope that you can maybe enjoy whatever amount you have left. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.